All right, strap in everyone for a deep dive that'll leave you wanting to hit the streets and, well, maybe not quite defy gravity, but, get those wheels rolling.
Uh-huh. I like that energy.
We're talking air gear this time, and it's more than just your average anime.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
We've got this awesome analysis document. It's
Mhm.
packed with insights, and we're going to break it all down for you guys.
Yeah, air gear. It really takes that thrill that you get, from rollerblading,
Right.
but then it injects this futuristic tech,
Yeah.
in this whole high-stakes competition.
Yeah. It's not just like hitting the skate park on a Saturday.
Yeah, not at all.
So before we get into like the nitty-gritty with characters and the story and all that,
Right.
what are these air tracks?
Okay, so picture rollerblades,
Okay.
but like times 10.
Right.
These are air tracks. They call them ATs for short.
Okay.
And they can reach crazy speeds.
Oh, wow.
They do tricks that defy gravity, know?
Really?
And they can even let you fly. Yeah, they're like an extension of the person wearing them, almost like a human machine thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like a whole different way of moving through the world.
I can see why people would get hooked on this.
Oh, for sure.
So who do we follow on this this crazy journey?
So that would be Ikki. This is our main guy.
Ikki, okay.
He's got that classic, shonen anime energy.
Oh, yeah.
He's rebellious, impulsive, but he's got a really strong sense of justice.
I like him already.
Yeah, he's kind of like a trouble magnet,
Oh, yeah.
But he always fights for what's right, even if he has to bend the rules a little bit.
I feel like that's a prerequisite for an anime protagonist, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So is his whole deal becoming like the best of the best like you see in a lot of these shows?
Well, that's where air gear kind of does its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Ikki definitely wants to be the best,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
Like, his drive is fueled by this, deeper need for freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah, freedom on the ATs, off the ATs.
It's interesting.
It's like a big driving force for the whole story.
Okay, so it's more than just racing and tricks.
Way more.
So what does freedom mean in this world? Is it like breaking free from society or pushing your own limits? What is it?
It's kind of all of that and then some.
Okay.
The cool thing is that each character, sees freedom in a different way.
Oh, that's cool.
For some, it's like conquering their fears.
Mm.
For others, it's about finding where they belong in the world.
Right.
And for Ikki, it's this, always changing goal,
Right.
It pushes him to, face his limitations head on.
So it's like personal freedom, but also this bigger idea of freedom.
Exactly.
Okay, so Ikki's got this need for freedom.
Yeah.
He's got these crazy air treks, but he can't do it all alone, right?
Oh, definitely not. He's got a crew.
Okay, tell me about the crew.
So they call themselves Kogara Sumaru.
Kogara Samaru. All right, I like it.
Yeah, and, a lot of anime, they fall into that trap of, having side characters
Yeah.
that are just kind of there to make the main guy look good.
Right.
Air Gear avoids that.
Okay, good. So the side characters are actually characters.
Yeah, they're fleshed out. They're interesting.
Tell me more.
So they each have their own backstories, their own reasons for being there,
Mm-hmm.
and they have their own unique skills on the ATs.
Okay, so they're not just copies of Ikki.
No.
They bring something new to the table.
They challenge him. They support him.
It's a real team then.
It is, and they grow as individuals,
Oh, that's awesome.
which is just as important as Ikki's growth.
So the team is like a character in itself.
Exactly, and that team dynamic is so important to the story,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to showing how teamwork, leads to victory.
So even though friendship and teamwork are like pretty common in anime,
Oh, yeah.
it sounds like Air Gear actually like explores it in a way that's like more real.
It's not just a plot device. It's a part of who they are.
Right. It makes sense that a team focused on this kind of sport would really emphasize those themes.
And, it's not always easy for them.
Right.
They have these intense rivalries,
Oh, yeah.
conflicts within the group, and the dangers of, pushing themselves too hard are very real.
Right. You can't always be flying high.
Exactly, and that adds this grittiness to it.
Yeah. Right. It makes it feel more grounded.
It makes the victories feel even bigger,
And yes. And I got to ask about these regalia.
Ah, yes, the regalia.
They keep popping up in the document.
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay. All right.
So regalia are like these legendary AT parts,
Okay.
and each set is imbued with unique powers,
So like magic rollerblade part.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But it's connected to a specific king in this AT world.
Okay. A king. So like a top ranked writer.
Exactly. And it's not just about raw power. you know?
So there's more to it.
Yeah, it's about style, too.
Okay.
I'm picturing them, like, reflecting different writing philosophies, you know?
Oh, that's cool. So like different approaches to the sport.
Yeah, exactly. And so the pursuit of these regalia becomes this huge part of the story.
Okay, I can see that.
It's not just because they're powerful,
Right.
but because they represent different ways of expressing yourself through the ATs.
That makes sense.
Like, it's all about individuality and personal style in this competitive world.
So it's not just about being the best, it's about being the best you.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, we can't talk about air gear without talking about the visuals.
Though the visuals are wild.
Right. And I've heard the style is very in your face.
It's a visual feast, for sure.
So what makes it stand out from other anime visually?
Well, it's not just about being flashy.
Okay.
It's about capturing that kinetic energy of riding the ATs.
Right.
They use dynamic camera angles,
Oh, cool.
bold colors,
Mm-hmm.
and these stylized effects that really make you feel the rush.
So you feel like you're there.
Yeah, you feel the wind in your hair.
Nice.
You feel the metal clashing.
Wow.
And they're not afraid to experiment visually.
Okay, I like that.
It's bold, and that's what makes it memorable.
So it's not just eye candy, the visuals actually contribute to the story.
Oh, yeah, it's an extension of who the characters are.
Yeah.
You know, and that energy of the story.
Right, it pulls you into the world.
Exactly.
Now, we know air gear is like super rooted in this urban culture.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
And I'm curious how that influences the characters and the world.
So think street art,
Hmm.
think music,
Okay.
think fashion.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about that sense of rebellion, you know?
Okay.
Self-expression, pushing boundaries.
They're like artists then.
Exactly.
Mm.
They use their ATs as their canvas, you know?
Wow.
They customize everything, their gear, their hairstyles.
Right.
It's that DIY spirit that's so core to urban culture.
So they're not just living in the city, it's part of who they are.
It's a part of them for sure.
And through this sport, they're kind of making their own space.
Yeah, they're not just competing, they're making a statement.
Right. About who they are and what they believe in.
Exactly. And air gear really taps into that youthful energy, you know?
Right.
That desire to break free from
Mm-hmm.
conventions, leave your mark on the world.
I feel like that's something everyone can relate to, at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's universal, you know?
All right, so we've covered a lot about air gear so far.
We have.
The amazing AT's rebellious protagonist, the power of teamwork, those awesome regalia,
Mm-hmm.
and the show's killer visual style.
It's a lot.
It's clear why it's got so many fans, but we're just getting started.
We're just scratching the surface.
There's a whole other level to this.
Oh, yeah.
This deeper meaning behind all the action and the cool tech.
And that's what we're going to get into in part 2.
All right, so stay tuned, listeners, because we're going to be right back to unravel the deeper layers of air gear.
All right, gearheads, welcome back to our air gear deep dive.
Back at it.
So we're ready to go even deeper this time, you know?
Yeah, peel back those layers.
Underneath all the cool action and the races and everything that's really going on.
Right.
We talked about freedom being a big theme.
Yeah, big theme.
But what makes air gear different is how they actually approach that idea.
It's not just about, like, literally flying through the air, you know?
It's about those inner boundaries, the expectations people put on you.
So it's more like using the ATs to show personal growth and breaking free from whatever's holding you back.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor.
Okay, I like that.
And they explore that in really interesting ways. Like each character, they have their own version of what freedom means.
Right, because everyone's different.
Exactly. It's shaped by their struggles, their desires,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh.
For some, it's about escaping a tough past. For others, it's about proving themselves to the world.
Yeah.
And for Ikki, it's this constant search to be even more free.
Always reaching for that next level.
Yeah, it's a journey for him.
It's cool how they took something like rollerblading
Right.
and made it into this way of exploring these really deep themes.
It's deeper than it looks on the surface,
Yeah, it's not just about the rush, it's about what that represents, you know?
that feeling of breaking free.
And it's not all sunshine and rainbows either,
Oh,
right?
no, definitely not.
There's a darker side to this pursuit of freedom.
Yeah, there are consequences.
Uh-huh.
They push too far sometimes, and it's dangerous.
So there's a sense of realism there.
It's not just a fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a price to pay.
Right, you can't just lie around without any worry.
No, you got to be careful.
They get hurt, they have doubts, it's real.
And that makes those wins even sweeter.
Oh yeah, because they earned it.
They fought for it.
It's that mix of excitement and risk.
The highs and lows.
That's what keeps you on the edge of your seat.
And they keep evolving, you know,
Right.
learning from those mistakes, becoming better.
Speaking of evolving, we got to talk about the visuals again.
Oh, yeah, the art is off the charts.
It's so unique.
It's not just about being cool to look at. It's like the art itself shows that freedom.
Okay, Explain that.
So the animation, it's all about motion and energy. They use these camera angles like you're flying with them.
Oh, wow.
The colors are bold, vibrant, almost like graffiti.
So it's like the city is coming alive.
Exactly. It's an explosion of color.
So you're saying the visuals aren't just decoration? No way.
They're part of how they tell the story.
They add another layer to it. Yeah.
Right? Like you can see the character's emotions through the colors and the movement.
Yeah, and the way they use special effects.
Oh, yeah. The effects are crazy.
It's not just to be flashy.
Okay.
It's showing you the raw power of those ATs. They use light streaks, blurring, and these abstract images.
So it's almost like art in motion.
Yeah, like visual poetry.
That's a good way to put it.
So it's not just your typical anime style. They mix that realistic movement with these almost dreamlike sequences.
So they're not afraid to break the rules.
Exactly. They're pushing those boundaries.
And that must make the fights so awesome to watch.
Oh, the fight scenes are insane.
Tell me about them.
It's not just about strength.
Right.
It's about being agile, strategic.
Using your brain and your brawn.
Yeah, and knowing how to use your ATs.
Right, because each one is unique.
Every AT is different.
And those regalia, they got to play a big part, right?
Oh, the regalia are key.
Not just in terms of power, but visually, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make the fights even more spectacular.
How so?
Well, imagine sparks flying trails of light and these characters doing these almost superhuman moves.
Because the regalia are amplifying their abilities.
Exactly. And it all ties into their own style.
So it's like a fashion show and a battle all in one.
Yeah, it's wild.
And we got to mention that urban culture again.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
It's not just a setting, it's like part of their DNA.
It's woven into everything.
So remind us what kind of vibe we're talking about.
Think street art, the rebellious spirit of punk music, that DIY attitude, you know, customizing your stuff.
It's all about making it your own.
And Air Gear takes that and throws it into this futuristic world.
It's like they're creating their own subculture within the city.
Yeah, a place where individuality rules.
So they're using this sport to break free from those societal norms.
They're not just athletes, they're artists and innovators.
Right, and the city is their canvas.
Exactly. A place to express themselves, to test their limits, to connect with others.
So it's freedom, self-expression, and a whole lot of rebellious energy.
All wrapped up in this amazing visual package.
But there's one more piece we got to talk about.
What's that?
The story itself. How it unfolds.
Right.
How does Air Gear balance those smaller adventures with the bigger story they're telling?
That's where the pacing comes in, you know?
Okay.
Those early episodes, they set the stage, introduce the characters, the rules of the game.
They give you time to get to know everyone.
Yeah, you get invested.
Well, they don't just throw you into the deep end right away.
They ease you in.
And then as the show goes on, those smaller stories, they start to connect.
You start to see a bigger picture.
There's more going on than meets the eye.
There are hints of a bigger mystery.
Like, what's the deal with those ATs? Where did they come from?
Right. And there's that Trophaeum Tower.
Oh, yeah, that sounds important.
It's shrouded in secrecy.
So they give you those little tastes of the bigger mystery.
To keep you hooked, you know?
I like that it's like they're saying, hey, there's more to come.
Come along for the ride.
But even though the anime doesn't cover the whole manga story,
right, this is a part of it.
They still manage to give you a satisfying ending.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like a complete chapter in Ikki's story.
Yeah, this part of his journey has a beginning, middle, and end.
So it's not like they just stopped abruptly.
No, they wrapped it up nicely.
But they still left you wanting more.
That's the key.
So what are some of the big moments in this part of the story?
Well, those kings are a big deal.
Oh, yeah, the legendary riders.
Each one represents a different philosophy of AT riding.
Okay.
And when Ikki meets them, those battles, they change him.
He learns from each fight.
He gets stronger. He figures out his own style.
So it's about more than just winning.
It's about growth, self-discovery.
Right.
Ikki becomes the leader he's meant to be.
And these kings, they have those regalias, right?
Yeah. Each king has their own set.
And the battles are about more than just fighting.
It's like their beliefs are clashing.
They're fighting for what they believe in.
Ikki has to prove he's worthy.
Not just strong, but worthy of that power.
The responsibility that comes with the regalia.
So it's like these deep ideas are being expressed through these crazy battles.
It's philosophy in motion.
And all this is happening in the city.
The city is like a character itself, you know?
Right? It's always moving.
There's danger, but there's also opportunity.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it can lift you up or hold you down.
And the ATs, They help these characters navigate that,
They find their own paths.
break free from those limitations.
God, he's above it all.
And the anime shows that so well visually.
The camera takes you right into the streets.
You feel like you're right there with them,
Dodging traffic, jumping rooftops.
turning the whole city into their playground.
It's amazing.
So we've got these intense battles, these philosophical clashes, amazing visuals, and this idea of personal growth.
It's a powerful combination.
No wonder people love Air Gear so much.
It's got it all.
But what's the main message? What are they trying to say with this story?
I think it's about potential.
Potential.
Finding your passion, pushing yourself to the limit.
Not letting anything hold you back.
Making your mark on the world.
Even when the world feels like it's boxing you in.
There's always a way to break free.
It's a message of hope.
Hope and freedom and creativity.
And going after your dreams.
No matter what.
It's something we can all learn from.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Air Gear makes you want to get out there and do something amazing.
It's a call to action.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But there's one more part to this deep dive.
The final chapter.
We're going to explore how Air Gear manages to deliver a satisfying conclusion.
While still leaving you wanting more.
So stick around, Gearheads. We're about to land this deep dive. Welcome back, everyone. We've talked about the themes, the characters, the art style, that urban energy, all that good stuff that makes Air Gear so special.
Yeah.
Now it's time to talk about how the story wraps up.
Right.
Because, you know, the anime only covers part of the whole manga.
It's like a slice of the pie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did they manage to give the viewers a satisfying ending, even though there's more story out there?
You know what? I think they did a great job with that.
Okay, good. Because sometimes those anime adaptations,
Oh, yeah.
they can feel kind of incomplete.
Yeah, like they just cut you off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did Air Gear avoid that trap?
Well, they focused on a specific part of Ikki's journey.
Okay.
His rise from, being a newbie to becoming this force in the AT world.
So it's like a self-contained story within the larger story.
Yeah, and they wrap it up nicely,
Okay, so it's not like a cliffhanger ending.
No, you get closure.
But they still hint at the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Those ancient secrets, that Trophaeum Tower.
They're out there waiting to be explored.
They're dangling that carrot.
Gotta keep you coming back for more.
Exactly. So they give you a satisfying ending, but also make you want to see what happens next.
It's a delicate balance.
They nailed it.
They did.
So in this part of the story, what are some of the key moments for Ikki?
Well, those kings we talked about, they're a big part of it.
Right, the legendary AT riders.
Each one represents a different way of thinking about the sport,
Yeah, different philosophies.
And when Ikki battles them, those are turning points for him.
He learns something new each time.
He grows as a rider, as a person.
It's like those fights are like tests.
And trials he has to overcome.
And those regalia are involved too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Each king has their own set of regalia.
And it's not just about who's stronger.
It's about whose beliefs are stronger.
Right, like a battle of ideas.
Ikki has to prove he's worthy to wield those regalia.
Not just physically, but mentally too.
He has to earn that power.
It's heavy stuff.
Deep themes.
And it's all happening in this crazy city.
A city is like a character itself,
Yeah, we talked about that urban energy.
It's a place of danger and opportunity.
Always moving, always changing.
And the ATs, they allow the characters to move through it in a different way.
To rise above the chaos.
To find their own paths.
And the anime shows that visually.
Those dynamic shots.
The way they use the city as their playground.
It's breathtaking.
So Air Gear gives us these awesome battles, philosophical debates, this incredible city, and this message of personal growth.
Finding your potential.
What more could you ask for?
It's a wild ride.
It really is.
And for those listening,
Yeah.
imagine strapping on those ATs, feeling the wind.
The city below you.
What kind of rider would you be?
That's a great question.
What regalia would you choose?
What would your style be?
Something to think about.
That about wraps up our Air Gear deep dive, everyone.
Another one down.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
Thanks for joining us.
And we'll catch you next time for another adventure in anime awesomeness.